Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY, the channel where epic human stories light up the stars. Here we tell tales of ordinary Terrans who rise to become unbreakable guardians, facing impossible odds with raw courage, unbreakable will, and that special fire only humans carry. If you love stories where humanity stands tall, protects the helpless, and makes the galaxy tremble in respect, or fear, then you are in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join the valor that knows no bounds. Today's story will grip you from the first word. Let's dive in. In the vast emptiness of space, far from any star humans call home, a single ship fought desperately for its life. It was no mighty warship with guns and shields. It was a refugee vessel, old and battered, carrying the last survivors of a peaceful race known as the Illyrians. Their homeworld had been reduced to ash by the Vorath Empire, a ruthless force that hunted without mercy. The Illyrians were tall, thin beings with soft silver skin that glowed faintly under starlight. They had gentle eyes, kind hearts, and no weapons at all. Only fear and fading hope kept them going. Their ship's engines screamed in agony as alarms wailed like wounded creatures. The pilot gripped the controls with trembling hands. "One more jump," he whispered. "Just one more to safety." The navigator shook her head in panic. "The drive is failing. If we jump now, we might never stop falling." But the Vorath hunters were closing in. Their dark, sleek ships sliced through the void like predators smelling blood. The refugees had no choice. They closed their eyes, held each other tight, and triggered the jump. Space twisted and folded around them. Stars stretched into bright lines. The ship shook so hard that metal groaned and cracked. Children cried out. Adults whispered prayers to forgotten gods. Then something broke. The jump tore them off course. Instead of a safe hidden nebula, the ship hurtled toward a small blue planet alone in the darkness, Earth. The forbidden world. The death world. The place every galactic traveler warned against. Legend said humans lived there, violent, warlike creatures who conquered their harsh planet through blood and fire. No one came to Earth by choice. No one survived if they did. The ship plunged into the atmosphere like a falling star. Flames roared around the hull. Chunks of metal tore away and burned up in bright streaks. Inside, the Illyrians braced for the end. The pilot fought the controls with every ounce of strength. "Brace yourselves. We are going down." The ground rushed up fast. Trees snapped like dry sticks. The earth split open with a deafening roar as the ship crashed deep into a remote forest. Smoke billowed high into the night sky. The world fell silent for one long, terrible moment. Slowly, the survivors crawled from the twisted wreckage. So many had not made it. The leader, an elder named Lyra, stood on shaking legs. Her silver skin was black with soot. She looked around at the strange green trees, the cool night air thick with the smell of pine and soil. Strange night creatures called in the distance. "This is Earth," she said in a quiet, broken voice. "The old stories are true. Humans live here. They are monsters. They will see us and kill us without a second thought." The others nodded, fear heavy in their eyes. They had heard the tales across the stars. Humans destroyed anything different, anything weak. The Illyrians had no strength left to run. They hid among the broken ship parts and waited for the end. But the end did not come quietly. Miles away, a lone human hunter named Jack sat by his small campfire. He was a simple man with a thick beard, worn boots, and an old but well-kept rifle. He loved the peace of the deep woods. Tonight that peace shattered. A brilliant streak lit up the sky. Then a massive boom rolled across the hills and shook the ground. Jack jumped to his feet. His loyal dog barked wildly toward the darkness. "What in God's name was that?" he muttered. He grabbed his flashlight and slung the rifle over his shoulder. Something huge had fallen from the heavens. Something not from this world. Trouble, maybe. Or something worse. Jack did not hesitate. He walked straight toward the rising smoke, boots crunching on dry leaves, heart pounding with a mix of caution and curiosity. Back at the crash site, Lyra heard the footsteps first. Heavy. Steady. Human footsteps. Coming closer. The refugees pressed tight against the cold metal wreckage. They held their breath. A small child whimpered in fear. Lyra gently covered the tiny mouth. "Quiet, little one," she whispered. "The monsters have found us." A bright flashlight beam sliced through the trees. It swept over the smoking ruin. Jack stopped dead in his tracks. His eyes went wide. There, in the harsh light, stood tall silver-skinned figures. They looked terrified. Not angry. Not attacking. Just scared, injured, and lost. Jack lowered his rifle slowly. "Holy hell," he breathed. "They're real." The Illyrians stared back at this first human. This was the moment they had dreaded. Would he shoot? Would he call others to hunt them down? Or would something impossible happen? Jack took one careful step forward. He raised an empty hand, palm out. "I won't hurt you," he said in a calm, steady voice. "Are you okay?" The words floated in the night air. The Illyrians did not catch every meaning, but they felt the tone. No rage. No threat. Only concern. Lyra stepped forward slowly on unsteady legs. She met the human's eyes. For the first time since their world burned, a tiny spark of hope flickered in her chest. But high above, unseen in the black of space, a Vorath scout ship had already picked up the crash signal. Its cold sensors locked on. "Prey located," a mechanical voice reported. "On the human death world. Prepare the hunters. The chase ends here." The galaxy held its breath. A mistake had brought refugees to the one place no one expected mercy. But mercy, and something far fiercer, was exactly what waited on Earth. The story of how Terrans vowed to stand as the last line of defense had just begun. "Stay with us. The valor is about to ignite." The aliens waited in the dark, hearts pounding like war drums. Every rustle of leaves felt like death coming closer. The Illyrians huddled together behind the broken hull of their ship. Smoke still curled up from the wreckage, mixing with the sharp smell of burnt metal and pine. Lyra, their elder, kept one arm around a small child who trembled without making a sound. They had seen humans in old stories, tall, loud, always ready for war. Now those stories walked toward them in real boots. A beam of light cut through the trees first. It danced over twisted metal, over silver skin, over wide, frightened eyes. Then the footsteps stopped. Jack stood there, flashlight in one hand, rifle hanging loose on his shoulder. He did not raise the weapon. He just stared. The Illyrians stared back. No one moved for what felt like forever. Jack broke the silence first. "Holy hell," he said under his breath. "They're real." He took one slow step forward. The Illyrians flinched as one. Lyra raised both hands high, palms out, showing she carried nothing. The others copied her. Surrender. That was all they knew how to do. Jack saw the fear. He saw the blood on their clothes, the burns on their arms, the way some of them leaned on each other because they could not stand alone. He lowered his flashlight a little so it did not blind them. "Easy now," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt anybody." He spoke slow and clear, like he talked to a scared animal. "You folks okay? Hurt bad?" Lyra understood some of the words. English was not their language, but traders and old recordings had taught them enough. She stepped one small step closer. Her voice shook. "We crash. No fight. Please, no kill." Jack blinked. He looked around at the others. A young woman with short dark hair stepped up beside him. She was Sarah, one of the local farmers who had heard the boom and run over with her brother. Sarah carried a first aid kit she always kept in her truck. "They're speaking," she whispered to Jack. "They're asking us not to kill them." Jack nodded slowly. "Yeah, I heard." He looked back at Lyra. "We won't hurt you. Promise." He pointed to himself. "Jack." Then he pointed to Sarah. "Sarah." Simple names. Easy to say. Lyra repeated the names carefully. "Jack." "Sarah." She touched her chest. "Lyra." Then she waved a hand at the group behind her. "Illyrians. Refugees. Vorath. Hunt us." Jack frowned. "Vorath. That's who's after you." He did not know the name, but he knew the look in her eyes. The same look deer had when wolves were close. "Okay, listen. You're on my land. My rules. No one's hunting anybody here tonight. Sarah opened her first aid kit. She pulled out bandages and antiseptic. "Some of them are bleeding bad," she said. "Let me help." She moved slow, like Jack had, showing her empty hands first. One Illyrian, a young male with a deep cut across his arm, let her come close. Sarah cleaned the wound gently. The alien hissed in pain but did not pull away. More footsteps came through the trees. 3 more humans appeared. Tom, Sarah's brother, carried a big flashlight and a shotgun. Behind him walked Maria, a retired nurse from the nearby town, and her grandson Ethan, who was home on leave from the army. They had all heard the crash and seen the fireball in the sky. Tom stopped short when he saw the aliens. "Jesus," he muttered. "What the hell are we looking at?" Maria pushed past him. "People who need help, that's what." She knelt beside an injured Illyrian child and checked for broken bones. "Poor thing. You're safe now, sweetheart." Ethan stayed back a little, hand near his sidearm, eyes scanning the dark. He had seen combat before. He knew danger did not always look dangerous at first. But these beings, they looked broken. Scared. Not a threat. Jack spoke to the group. "They say hunters are coming for them. Some kind of aliens called Voroth. They crashed here by mistake." Sarah looked up from her bandaging. "Hunters? Like space hunters?" Lyra nodded fast. "Voroth Empire. They destroy worlds. We run. Jump fail. Now here. They find us soon." The humans exchanged looks. Maria stood up. "We can't just leave them out here. It's cold. They're hurt. And if something's really coming—" she trailed off. Tom rubbed his neck. "This is above our pay grade. We need to call somebody." Ethan pulled out his phone. No signal deep in the woods, but he knew the military base 30 miles away had people who handled strange things. He looked at Jack. "You got a radio in your truck?" Jack nodded. "Yeah. CB. Strong one." They moved fast after that. The humans helped the Illyrians walk. Some aliens limped. Others were carried. They loaded the worst injured into Sarah's truck bed, covered them with blankets from the farm. Jack drove slow over rough ground so no one fell. The convoy of vehicles, Jack's old pickup, Sarah's truck, Tom's Jeep, rolled through the dark forest toward the main road. Inside the lead truck, Lyra sat beside Jack. She watched his face in the dashboard light. "Why?" she asked quietly. "Why help? Galaxy say, humans monsters. Kill different. Take all." Jack kept his eyes on the dirt track. "Maybe some are. But not all. Not me. Not these folks." He glanced at her. "You needed help. We gave it. Simple as that." Lyra looked out the window at the strange trees rushing by. For the first time since her world burned, the fear in her chest loosened just a little. These humans did not act like monsters. They acted like people who cared. But high above, in cold orbit, a Voroth scout ship hung silent. Its sensors had locked on the crash site hours ago. Now it watched the strange moving lights on the ground. Small heat signatures, Illyrians mixed with larger, warmer ones. Humans. The scout transmitted a single cold message back to the fleet. "Prey located. Protected by natives. Request immediate hunter deployment. This death world will not stop us." The Illyrians did not know it yet, but the hunters were already moving. And the humans. They had just taken the first step into something much bigger than one crashed ship in the woods. The night stretched on. More help was coming. Decisions were being made. And somewhere in the stars, a vow was forming, one planet against an empire. The stand had begun. Word spread like fire through the small town and beyond. By morning, phones rang off the hook. News leaked from one person to another. Real aliens crashed in the woods last night. They're hurt. Humans are helping them. Something's coming for them. People talked in whispers at gas stations, in diners, on front porches. No one knew the full truth yet, but everyone felt the weight of it. Something big had landed on Earth. In a secure room deep inside a military base 3 hours away, leaders gathered fast. General Harlan, a tall man with gray hair and a face carved from years of hard choices, stood at the head of the table. Screens showed satellite images of the crash site, smoke still rising, heat signatures moving. Scientists in white coats pointed at data. Intelligence officers scrolled through old files on extraterrestrial contact. The president's advisor joined by secure video link. The room buzzed with tension. A scientist spoke first. The ship matches no known design. Life signs are stable now, thanks to local civilians who got there first. About 40 survivors. They call themselves Illyrians. General Harlan crossed his arms. And the hunters they mentioned? Another officer pulled up grainy orbital scans. We picked up an unknown vessel in high orbit 30 minutes ago. Stealth tech. It's not ours. It's not friendly. Energy readings suggest weapons hot. The advisor on screen leaned forward. Options. One colonel spoke quick. Hand them over. Avoid conflict. We don't know what we're dealing with. Another shook his head. We don't hand over refugees to butchers. That's not who we are. General Harlan listened to both sides. He looked at the live feed again. Civilians loading injured aliens into trucks, doctors working in the field. Ordinary people doing what felt right. He thought of his own daughter, safe at home, and what he would want if she ever needed help from strangers. He made the call. We protect them. Full stop. He turned to the room. Mobilize quiet assets. Secure the site. Get medical teams in. No press yet. And prepare defenses. If those hunters show up, they meet us first. The room went quiet for a second. Then people moved. Orders flew. Helicopters warmed up. Special units loaded gear. Scientists prepared translation devices. Everyone knew the risk, war with an unknown empire. But no one backed down. Back in the mountains, the Illyrians had been moved to an old abandoned mine turned temporary shelter. Thick concrete walls. Hidden entrance. Safe for now. Humans brought hot food, soup, bread, water. Children from the town sneaked in toys and drew pictures. One Illyrian child held a stuffed bear and smiled for the first time since the crash. Lyra sat with Jack near a small fire. Your leaders, they know. Jack nodded. They know. And they're coming to help. Not to take you away. Lyra looked into the flames. In the galaxy, the strong take. The weak die. Your people, different. Jack shrugged. We've got a long history of standing up for the little guy. Sometimes it costs us. But we do it anyway. High above, the Vorath scout ship received new orders. A hunter squadron dropped from faster than light. 6 sleek black vessels, armed to kill. Their commander's voice echoed cold across the comms. The prey hides on the death world. The humans interfere. Burn the site if needed. No survivors. On Earth, Ethan stood guard at the mine entrance. His radio crackled. Inbound friendlies. ETA 20 minutes. He looked up at the stars. Something moved up there. Fast, dark shapes against the night. The Illyrians felt it too. A low hum in the air. Fear returned to their eyes. General Harlan's voice came over the secure line to the ground team. We see them coming. Hold position. We stand between them and our guests. Jack gripped his rifle tighter. Sarah checked her medical bag. Maria held an Illyrian child close. They all knew now, this was no longer just a rescue. It was a promise. The vow had been spoken in quiet rooms and in the hearts of ordinary people. Terrans would not step aside. The last line of defense was forming, and the galaxy was about to learn why no one should test human resolve. The Illyrians expected chains. Instead, humans gave them food, blankets, and a hiding place deep in the mountains. The old mine had thick stone walls that blocked the cold wind and curious eyes. Dim lights hung from wires the soldiers strung up fast. Cots lined the main tunnel. Warm soup steamed in metal bowls. The smell of bread and coffee filled the air for the first time in weeks for the refugees. Lyra walked slowly through the new shelter. Her bare feet felt strange on the rough floor. Around her, Illyrians sat in small groups. Some slept from pure exhaustion. Others stared at the humans who moved among them like quiet guardians. No guards stood at the entrance with guns pointed inward. Instead, 2 young soldiers checked weapons outside, facing the dark forest, ready for anything coming from the sky or the trees. Jack carried a heavy box of bottled water inside. He set it down near a family of Illyrians. The mother looked up, eyes wide. Her child, a tiny girl with faint glowing patterns on her arms, clutched a small toy truck one of the town kids had given her earlier. Jack knelt to their level. "Drink slow," he said. "Plenty more where that came from." He smiled, the kind of smile that reached his eyes. The mother took the bottle with careful fingers. "Thank you," she whispered. Sarah moved from cot to cot with her medical kit. She changed bandages, gave pain medicine, checked fevers. One Illyrian male had a broken leg from the crash. Sarah splinted it tight with help from Maria. "You'll walk again soon," Maria told him. "We've got good doctors coming tomorrow." The alien nodded, too tired to speak much. His eyes followed Maria's hands, gentle, sure, like a mother's. Outside the main chamber, Ethan stood watch with a radio. He scanned the night sky through binoculars. Stars twinkled cold and far. No ships yet. But he knew they were coming. The base had sent more gear, night vision goggles, motion sensors, a few heavy machine guns mounted on tripods. Quiet preparations. No panic. Just steady work. Inside, a small group of Illyrian children gathered around a tablet one soldier brought. The screen played simple cartoons, bright colors, funny animals. The kids laughed for the first time since leaving their burning homeworld. A human teenager named Riley, who came with his mom to help cook, sat with them. He pointed at the screen. "That's a dog. Woof woof." The children copied the sound. Laughter echoed softly off the stone walls. Lyra found Jack near the entrance. He cleaned his rifle by lantern light. She sat on a crate across from him. "Your people give so much," she said. "Food, medicine, safety. Why?" Jack wiped the barrel slow. "Because it's right. Back in town, we help neighbors when storms hit or barns burn. You're neighbors now. Just from farther away." Lyra looked down at her hands. "In our stars, the Vorath take everything. They call weakness a crime. Your world calls it something else." Jack met her eyes. "We call it human. Or at least, the best parts of us." A soft cry came from deeper in the tunnel. An Illyrian elder had woken from a nightmare. Maria rushed over with water and kind words. She held the old one's hand until the shaking stopped. Lyra watched. Tears gathered in her silver eyes. "They heal us," she said quietly. "Not just bodies. Hearts too." Jack stood up. "Come on. You need rest. Big day tomorrow. More help arrives at dawn." As night deepened, the Illyrians settled. Some slept soundly for the first time in months. Dreams of home mixed with new dreams, of blue skies, green trees, and people who did not turn away. But peace never lasted long. High in orbit, the Vorath hunter ships arrived. 4 dark shapes slipped past Earth's defenses like shadows. Their commander, a tall figure in black armor named Krell, stared at the sensor screen. The Illyrian life signs glowed clear, hidden in mountains, surrounded by human heat signatures. "Primitives," Krell hissed. "They dare shield our prey." He turned to his second. "Land 2 teams. Silent approach. Recover the Illyrians. Eliminate any resistance. The Deathworlders are no threat." Boots touched dirt miles away. Vorath hunters, armed with energy blades and rifles, moved through the forest. Their steps made no sound. Red eyes scanned for tracks. They followed the faint trail of truck tires and footprints. Back at the mine, a motion sensor beeped once. Ethan's radio crackled. Perimeter breach. Multiple contacts. Not ours. He grabbed his rifle. All stations, eyes open. We've got company. Jack heard the alert. He ran to Lyra. They're here. Stay inside. We'll handle it. Lyra grabbed his arm. No. You bleed for us already. Let us. Jack shook his head. Not tonight. You rest. We stand. Outside, Soldiers took positions behind rocks and trees. Lights stayed low. Hearts beat fast. Sarah loaded a shotgun she barely knew how to use. Maria stayed with the children, whispering calm stories. The Vorath hunters closed in. They saw the mine entrance. One raised a scanner. Targets confirmed. Humans guard the door. Orders. Krell's voice came cold over comms. Take the prey. Kill the guards. Leave no witnesses. The first energy shot lit the night like lightning. Jack fired back without hesitation. Bullets sparked off black armor. A hunter stumbled. Another returned fire. Stone chipped near Ethan's head. The fight had started. Small at first. But it would grow. Inside the shelter, Lyra held the children close. She looked at the ceiling as if she could see the stars through rock. They fight for us, she whispered. Strangers. For us. The Illyrians listened to the distant cracks of gunfire. Fear returned, but something new burned beside it, gratitude. And anger at those who hunted them still. The humans had opened their home. Now they opened fire to keep it safe. The vow grew stronger with every shot. The last line of defense held firm. And the night turned to war. The night fell heavy and thick around the mountain mine. Then, lights in the sky that did not belong. Not stars. Not planes. Cold blue glows moving fast and silent, like ghosts hunting in the dark. The Illyrians inside the shelter felt the change first. A low hum vibrated through the stone walls. Children woke crying. Adults pulled each other close. Lyra stood up slow. They are here, she whispered. The Vorath have come. Outside, the human defenders waited in position. Jack crouched behind a fallen log. His rifle rested steady on the wood. Ethan lay flat on a ridge 20 yards away, scope trained on the tree line. Sarah hid near the entrance with a shotgun across her lap. More soldiers had arrived at dusk, quiet teams from the base, black gear, night vision. They said little. They just nodded and took posts. The air smelled of pine, gun oil, and fear. A motion sensor chirped once. Then twice. Ethan's radio hissed soft. Multiple contacts. Closing from the east. Armed. Not ours. Jack keyed his mic. Hold fire until they're clear. We want them to know we see them. No one answered. They did not need to. Everyone understood. The first Vorath hunter stepped from the shadows. Tall, black armor that drank the moonlight. Red visor glowed like dying coals. He carried a long energy rifle. 2 more followed, then 4. They moved in perfect silence, spreading out to circle the mine entrance. One raised a device. A thin red beam swept the ground, scanning for life signs. Jack's finger rested on the trigger. He waited. The lead hunter stopped 20 feet from the entrance. He spoke in a cold, mechanical voice that carried on the wind. Illyrian refugees. Surrender now. Resistance is pointless. The humans will not save you. Inside, Lyra heard the voice through the open vent. She pressed a hand to her mouth. The children whimpered. Maria pulled them into a side tunnel. Stay quiet, loves. The grown-ups are handling it. Jack stood up slow. He stepped into the open, rifle lowered but ready. This is Earth territory, he called back. You're not welcome here. Turn around. Go home. The lead hunter tilted his head. Primitives. You speak to the Vorath Empire. Step aside or die with them. Jack smiled thin. We don't step aside for bullies. Not today. Not ever. The hunter raised his rifle. That was the signal. Ethan fired first. A single shot cracked through the night. The round punched through the hunter's visor. Sparks flew. The alien dropped without a sound. The others reacted fast. Energy bolts lit the darkness, bright blue streaks that scorched trees and exploded rock. Humans returned fire. Bullets whined. Tracers cut red lines. One Vorath hunter charged forward. Jack rolled aside as an energy blast melted the log where he had stood. He came up shooting. 2 rounds hit center mass. The armor cracked. The hunter staggered. Sarah pumped the shotgun and stepped out. She fired once. The blast caught a hunter in the leg. He fell screaming in his strange tongue. Another human soldier tossed a flash grenade. White light bloomed. Hunters stumbled blind. Gunfire roared louder. In the chaos, one Vorath broke through. He sprinted toward the entrance. An Illyrian child had wandered too close to the opening, drawn by the noise. The hunter raised his blade, long, glowing, deadly. A human soldier, young, barely 20, ran straight at the hunter. He tackled the alien to the ground. They rolled in the dirt. The blade slashed. Blood sprayed. Human blood. The soldier grunted but did not let go. He drove his combat knife into the gap under the armor. The hunter went still. The soldier rolled off, clutching his side. Blood soaked his shirt. He looked up at the child. "Run back inside," he gasped. The Illyrian child stared, then ran crying to Lyra. More hunters pressed. But the humans held. They used the rocks, the trees, the high ground. Every time a Vorath got close, bullets or buckshot drove them back. One soldier took a hit to the shoulder. He kept firing one-handed. Another lost his helmet to an energy blast. He laughed through the pain. "That all you got?" The fight lasted only minutes, but it felt like hours. Then, silence. The remaining hunters pulled back into the trees. They dragged their dead. No victory shouts. Just retreat. Jack ran to the wounded soldier. He pressed a bandage to the gut wound. "Hang on, kid. Medevac's coming." The soldier grinned weak. Told the little one to run. "Did good, right?" Jack nodded. "You did real good." Inside the shelter, the Illyrians had watched through cracks in the door. They saw humans bleed. They saw humans die for them. One young Illyrian male, Kale, stepped forward. His arm was bandaged, but he stood tall. "They fight like this for us?" Lyra nodded slow. Tears tracked down her silver face. "They die for strangers. For us." Kale looked at the door where gunfire echoes still lingered. "Then we fight too. Next time." Outside, Ethan scanned the sky. "They're pulling back. For now." He keyed the radio. "Base, we repelled first contact. Casualties on both sides. They'll be back with more." General Harlan's voice came steady. "Copy. Reinforcements en route. Hold the line. Tell the locals, they just bought us time." Jack helped carry the wounded soldier inside. Maria took over, hands steady despite the blood. The Illyrians moved to help without being asked. They brought water, held bandages, whispered comfort in their soft language. One Illyrian elder knelt beside the dying soldier. He placed a glowing hand on the wound. A faint silver light pulsed. The bleeding slowed. The soldier's breathing eased a little. "Not magic," the elder said. "Just our way. To thank." Jack watched. "Keep doing that. Every bit helps." As dawn crept over the mountains, the sky stayed quiet. No more ships yet. But everyone knew this was only the first warning. The Illyrians looked at the humans with new eyes. Not fear. Not just gratitude. Respect. And something deeper. Loyalty. They had seen Terrans bleed red for silver skin. Now the question burned in every heart. How far would humans go? How many would die before the hunters learned to fear this blue world? The answer was coming. Fast. The stand grew fiercer with every heartbeat. And the galaxy watched a small planet say no to an empire. The galaxy watched. One small planet against an empire. Who would blink first? Word of the first clash spread fast through hidden channels. Not on human news, yet. The military kept it locked down. But in the stars, whispers traveled quicker than light. Traders in distant ports spoke of a death world that refused to yield. Ships that had once ignored Earth now turned sensors toward the blue marble. Some laughed. Most stayed silent. They knew the Vorath did not lose small fights. They crushed worlds. And now a handful of primitives had drawn first blood. Deep inside the mountain shelter, the Illyrians gathered in the main chamber. Dim lights cast long shadows on stone walls. Lyra stood at the center. Around her sat the survivors, some bandaged, some still weak, but all listening. Kale, the young male who had vowed to fight, leaned against a crate. His eyes burned with something new. Not just fear. Purpose. Jack entered quietly. Blood still stained his sleeve from the night before. He carried a tablet. Ethan walked beside him, face grim. Sarah followed with fresh water bottles. The humans did not speak at first. They let the Illyrians see them, tired, bruised, but standing tall. Lyra broke the silence. "Your soldier, the young one who saved our child. Will he live?" Jack nodded slow. "He's stable. Docs say the glowing thing your elder did helped. He'll pull through." He looked around the room. "But we lost 2 last night. Good people. They died keeping your folks safe." A soft murmur rose from the Illyrians. Heads bowed. One elder placed a hand over his heart. "We grieve with you." Jack set the tablet on a crate. He tapped the screen. A star map appeared, simple, glowing lines. Earth sat small in the center. Red dots circled closer. "Vorath fleet," he said. "Not scouts anymore. Main force. They dropped out of jump an hour ago. Just outside our system. They're coming." Ethan crossed his arms. Their message arrived 10 minutes back. "Open channel. No encryption. They want you handed over. Or Earth burns." Sarah handed out water. Her hands shook a little. "They think we'll fold. Like everyone else." Lyra stepped closer to the map. Her silver finger traced the red dots. "How many ships?" Jack met her eyes. "Enough to glass a planet. We counted 30 capital vessels. Hundreds of fighters. They don't play small." The chamber went quiet. A child started to cry. Maria pulled her close and rocked gently. Kale stood up. "Then we run. We have brought death to your world. Let us leave. Draw them away." Jack shook his head hard. "No. You run, they chase. They find you somewhere else. And we let bullies win. That's not how we do things." Lyra looked at him long. "You would die for us? All of you?" Jack shrugged one shoulder. "Some already did. The rest of us? We're not asking permission. We're telling you, we stand." Outside, the base had turned into a hive. Trucks rolled in with crates of ammo, medical supplies, anti-air missiles. Soldiers dug in around the mountain. Civilians from nearby towns showed up too, not ordered, just there. Farmers with hunting rifles. Mechanics with toolkits. A retired teacher brought food for the fighters. No one asked questions. They just worked. In a command tent, General Harlan studied screens. Satellite feeds showed the Vorath fleet slowing, forming up. A communications officer played the alien demand again. "Terrans of Earth. You harbor fugitives of the Vorath Empire. Surrender them within 1 cycle. Or face annihilation. This is not negotiation." Harlan's jaw tightened. He keyed the mic, "Open a channel. Broadcast wide. Let them hear us." The officer nodded. Harlan stood straight. His voice carried calm steel. "This is General Harlan, Earth Defense Command. To the Vorath fleet. You came to our home uninvited. You attacked our people. You threatened our guests. Hear this clear, we do not surrender refugees. We do not bow to threats. If you want them, come take them. But know this, every step you take on our soil will cost you. We protect our own. And now, these Illyrians are our own. Your move." He cut the link. The tent erupted in quiet cheers. Soldiers slapped shoulders. Harlan allowed himself one small smile. Then he turned back to the maps. "Prep the defenses. They won't wait long." Back in the shelter, the Illyrians listened to the broadcast through a speaker. Jack had patched it in. When Harlan finished, silence held for a heartbeat. Then Kale spoke. "They called us our own." Lyra nodded. Tears shimmered but did not fall. "Your leaders speak for all of you." Jack looked around. "Not always. But on this. We're in it together." More Illyrians stepped forward. One by one. They offered what they had: knowledge of Vorath weapons, weak points in armor, how their energy shields worked. A female engineer named Vera sketched quick diagrams on a scrap of paper. Their blades cut metal like air. But overload the power core here, she pointed, and the armor fails. Ethan took the drawing. We'll use it. Thank you. As night fell again, the sky lit with new lights. Vorath dropships descending. Not stealth this time. Bold. Arrogant. Jack stood at the entrance with his rifle. Sarah beside him. Maria inside with the children. Ethan on the ridge with a sniper team. Lyra joined Jack. She carried a small energy pistol one of her people had salvaged from the wreck. "I fight too," she said. Jack looked at her, then nodded. "Welcome to the line." High above, the Vorath commander Krell watched his screens. Human transmissions played on loop. He snarled. "Primitives with pride. They will learn fear." He gave the order. "All forces. Land. Take the prey. Burn the rest." The dropships screamed toward Earth. Engines roaring. Guns hot. On the ground, humans and Illyrians waited side by side. Not as saviors and saved. As equals. As friends. As defenders. The ultimatum had been answered. The battle was no longer coming. It had arrived. And one small blue world refused to blink. The sky filled with enemy ships. Dark shapes blotted out the stars. Dropships screamed down like falling knives. The ultimatum had come and gone. Now the Vorath made their move. On the ground, the mountain air turned thick with tension. Jack stood at the mine entrance, rifle in hand. Lyra waited beside him, her small energy pistol gripped tight. Her silver skin caught the faint glow of emergency lights. She looked up at the sky. "So many," she whispered. "We cannot win." Jack did not look away from the horizon. "We don't have to win everything. We just have to make them pay enough to think twice." Ethan's voice crackled over the radio from the ridge. "Dropships inbound. 20+. Heavy armor. Fighters circling high. They're not playing anymore." General Harlan's orders came next, calm and clear. "All units, this is command. Hold the perimeter. No retreat. Protect the civilians inside at all costs. Reinforcements are 30 minutes out, air support and heavy artillery. Buy time. Make it hurt." The first dropship touched down half a mile out. Ramp slammed open. Vorath hunters poured out, dozens, armored black, weapons hot. Energy rifles glowed blue. Blades extended with a sharp hiss. They formed ranks fast. A commander in heavier armor stepped forward. Krell. His voice boomed across the valley on open speakers. "Terrans, your defiance ends now. Deliver the Illyrians, or this mountain becomes your grave." Jack keyed his mic. His voice went out wide, every radio, every speaker patched in. "Krell, right? Listen close. You're on our soil. You attacked our people. You threatened our guests. We gave you an answer already. Come and take them. If you can." A low growl came from the alien commander. Then he raised one arm. "Burn them." The sky lit up. Energy bolts rained down. Trees exploded into fire. Rocks shattered. The ground shook. Human defenders returned fire. Machine guns roared from hidden nests. Missiles streaked up from launchers the base had rushed in. One dropship took a direct hit. Flames bloomed, metal twisted, it crashed into the forest in a fireball. But more landed. Hunters advanced. They moved in waves, cover fire, flank maneuvers, precise and brutal. A squad broke through the east line. 3 humans fell before the breach closed. Screams mixed with gunfire. Inside the shelter, Maria kept the children calm. She sang soft songs. Illyrian elders helped too, using their faint healing glow on the wounded carried in. Vera, the engineer, worked fast beside a group of human techs. She modified captured Vorath tech, rewired power cells to overload enemy shields. "Here," she said, handing a small device to a soldier. "Throw it. It blinds their visors for 10 seconds." The soldier nodded. "Thanks." He ran back out. Kale stepped up to Lyra. "We must fight, not hide." Lyra looked at him, then at the door where flashes of battle lit the tunnel. She nodded. Together, they joined the line. Illyrians with salvaged weapons. Humans with rifles and shotguns. No ranks. No orders shouted. Just people standing shoulder to shoulder. Outside, the fight turned fierce. Jack ducked behind a boulder as an energy bolt scorched the air above him. He popped up, fired 3 shots. One hunter dropped. Another charged. Jack met him hand to hand. The alien's blade slashed. Jack blocked with his rifle barrel. Metal screamed. He drove his knee into the gap in the armor. The hunter staggered. Jack finished him with a point-blank shot. Sarah fought near the entrance. She pumped the shotgun, took down 2 hunters closing on a wounded soldier. "Get him inside," she yelled. 2 Illyrians dragged the man to safety. Ethan, from the ridge, picked targets with cold precision. Headshot after headshot. But the numbers kept coming. A Vorath fighter screamed low overhead. It strafed the line. Dirt erupted. 3 defenders went down. Ethan rolled, fired his launcher. The missile streaked, hit the fighter's engine. It spun wild and crashed into a cliff. The Illyrians watched humans bleed and keep fighting. One young Illyrian female, Sarah, picked up a fallen rifle. Her hands shook, then steadied. She fired. A hunter fell. She looked surprised, then angry. "For our home," she whispered. "And for theirs." Krell watched from his command dropship. His screens showed losses mounting. Human primitives fought like cornered beasts, traps, ambushes, raw fury. Shields cracked under sustained fire. Armor failed. Hunters hesitated for the first time. "Impossible," Krell snarled. "They are primitives." His second officer spoke low. "They fight for something more than orders, Commander. They fight for each other." Krell slammed a fist on the console. "Then make them pay for it. All units, full assault. Overwhelm the entrance. Take the prey alive if possible. Kill the rest." The ground shook harder. More dropships landed. Hunters surged forward in a black tide. Jack's radio crackled. "Air support inbound. 5 minutes. Hold." Jack looked at Lyra. Blood streaked her face, not hers. 5 minutes, he said. "We give them hell for 5 minutes." Lyra raised her pistol. "We give them forever if we must." The line tightened. Humans and Illyrians locked shields, literal and not. Rifles barked. Energy weapons hummed. Bodies fell on both sides. The mountain echoed with war. Inside, a child asked Maria, "Will the bad ones win?" Maria hugged her tight. "Not while good people stand. And look, your people stand with us now." The child looked toward the entrance. Flashes of light-painted silver faces, determined and unafraid. The battle raged. Losses mounted. But the defenders did not break. Every second they held bought time. Every fallen friend fueled the next shot. High above, the Vorath fleet waited. Krell's voice filled the comms. "Press harder. The primitives will crack." But on the ground, something shifted. The Illyrians no longer hid. They fought beside Terrans. Strangers became brothers. A mistake crash had forged a bond in fire. And the last line of defense? It held. For now. The clock ticked. Air support closed in. The sky waited to answer. The vow burned brighter than any energy bolt. One planet. One stand. And it was far from over. The earth shook. Lasers met bullets. Humans met monsters. The mountain battlefield turned into a storm of fire and fury. Vorath dropships kept landing, unloading wave after wave of black-armored hunters. Energy bolts sliced through the night like blue knives, carving deep scars into rock and tree. Human machine guns answered with steady thunder. Tracers lit the dark in red arcs. Explosions bloomed where missiles found their marks. Smoke rose thick, choking the air with the smell of burnt metal, ozone, and blood. Jack crouched behind a shattered boulder near the mine entrance. His rifle barrel smoked hot. Sweat stung his eyes. He popped up, squeezed off 3 rounds. A Vorath hunter staggered, armor cracked across the chest, then fell. Another took his place, fast, relentless. Jack ducked as an energy blast vaporized the top of his cover. Stone shards rained down like hot rain. "Reloading," he yelled. Sarah slid in beside him, shotgun ready. She pumped once, fired into the advancing line. The spread caught 2 hunters in the legs. They dropped screaming. "Keep them off the door," she shouted. Lyra knelt nearby, her small pistol humming. She aimed careful, slow breaths like Jack had taught her, and fired. A hunter's visor shattered. He collapsed. Lyra stared at her own hands, surprised she had hit. From the ridge, Ethan's sniper rifle cracked again and again. Each shot precise. A Vorath officer directing fire took a round through the neck. His body slumped over a console. Ethan keyed his radio. "Command, we're getting hammered. Casualties climbing. Where's that air support?" General Harlan's voice came back steady but tight. 2 minutes out. Heavy fighters inbound. Hold the line. You're doing it. Inside the shelter, Maria moved fast among the wounded. Illyrian healers worked beside her, their silver glow pulsing over torn flesh and broken bones. A young soldier lay on a cot, leg mangled from shrapnel. An elder placed glowing hands on the wound. The bleeding slowed. The soldier gasped. "Feels warm. Thank you." The elder nodded silent. No words needed. Vera and a human tech rigged more improvised traps. They wired Vorath power cells to detonate on proximity. "Throw these," Vera said, handing small glowing orbs to runners. "They blind and burn." The runners, half human, half Illyrian, dashed out into the chaos, hurling the devices. Bright flashes erupted. Hunters screamed as visors overloaded and armor sparked. Kale fought at the front line now. He had taken a fallen human's rifle. His shots were wild at first, then steadier. He saw a hunter closing on Sarah. Kale charged. He tackled the alien, drove the rifle but into the helmet. The visor cracked. The hunter slashed back with a blade. Kale took a shallow cut across the arm but kept fighting. Sarah finished the hunter with a shotgun blast. She grabbed Kale's shoulder. "You okay?" He nodded, blood dripping silver. "We fight together." High above, a human pilot named Reyes flew lead in a squadron of fast attack jets. They screamed into the atmosphere, afterburners roaring. "Blue Wing, weapons free," Reyes called. "Target the dropships and ground forces. Protect the mountain site." Missiles streaked away. One Vorath dropship exploded mid-air in a fireball that lit the whole valley. Another spun out of control and slammed into a ridge. Cheers rose from the ground defenders, short, fierce, hopeful. But the Vorath pressed harder. Krell's command ship hovered low now. He watched the battle on screens. Losses mounted. Human primitives refused to break. They used the terrain, ambushes from caves, traps in the trees, snipers on high ground. Every advance cost more than expected. "Primitives," Krell snarled. "They should have fled." His second spoke quiet. "They do not flee because they believe they can win. Or that dying here matters." Krell slammed the armrest. "Then show them it does not. Full orbital strike on the mountain. End this." In the command tent, Harlan saw the energy buildup on satellite feeds. "They're charging main weapons," an officer warned. "We've got seconds." Harlan grabbed the mic. "All units, evacuate non-essentials into deep tunnels. Fighters, take out that command ship now." Reyes heard the order. "Copy. Blue Wing, form up. We're going for the big one." His jet climbed sharp, locked on. Missiles away. The command ship's shields flared bright as hits landed. It rocked but held. On the ground, the fight turned desperate. Hunters reached the entrance. Hand-to-hand now. Jack wrestled one to the ground, knife flashing. Lyra shot another point-blank. Sarah clubbed a third with her empty shotgun. Illyrians and humans bled together, red and silver mixing in the dirt. A massive explosion rocked the sky. Reyes' squadron had broken through. The Vorath command ship listed, engines failing. It began to fall, trailing fire. Krell's last transmission cut short. The ship crashed miles away in a thunderous boom that shook the earth. The hunters hesitated. Their commander gone. Orders lost. Some kept fighting. Most pulled back, dragging wounded, covering retreat. Energy fire slackened. Jack stood panting, rifle smoking. He looked around. Bodies everywhere, human, Illyrian, Vorath. Sarah leaned on her shotgun, exhausted. Lyra lowered her pistol, hands shaking. Kale helped a wounded human to his feet. Inside, Maria emerged with a child in her arms. The little Illyrian looked out at the smoke and fire. "Is it over?" she asked. Jack wiped blood from his face. "For now." We held. The sky cleared slowly. Vorath ships pulled back into orbit, damaged, fewer. The ground force retreated under covering fire. No victory cheer rose yet. Too many friends lay still. But the Illyrians saw it clear. Humans had not broken. They had bled, lost, fought on. And won the night. Lyra stepped to Jack. "You paid a high price." Jack looked at the fallen. "We always do. But we keep the promise." High above, the remaining Vorath fleet watched their losses. Krell was dead. The primitives had not cracked. They had grown fiercer. The battle was not finished. But the turning had begun. Earth stood. Battered. Bloody. Unbowed. And the last line of defense had just shown the galaxy what real valor looked like. When hope was thin, humans showed their true face. The battlefield lay scarred and smoking under the first gray light of dawn. Twisted metal from crashed dropships jutted from the earth like broken teeth. Bodies, human, Illyrian, Vorath, dotted the ground in silent rows. The air tasted of gunpowder, blood, and burnt ozone. The remaining Vorath forces had pulled back into the trees, regrouping, licking wounds. Their numbers still outnumbered the defenders, but something had shifted. The hunters no longer advanced with cold certainty. They hesitated. They watched. Jack leaned against a cracked boulder near the mine entrance. His left arm hung in a makeshift sling, energy burned across the shoulder, deep and angry. Blood crusted his shirt. He breathed slow, watching the tree line. Sarah sat beside him, shotgun across her knees, face streaked with soot and tears. She had not spoken since they carried the last wounded inside. Lyra knelt a few feet away, bandaging a young Illyrian fighter's leg. Her hands moved steady, but her eyes kept flicking to the sky. Inside the shelter, Maria and the healers worked without pause. Cots overflowed. Illyrian glow mixed with human medicine, bandages, for drips, pain shots. A child clung to Maria's leg, whispering, "When will it stop?" Maria stroked his silver hair. "Soon, love. The strong ones are fighting for us." Ethan slid down from the ridge, rifle slung. His face looked older. "Command says the fleet's still holding orbit. They're not leaving. But they're not pressing either. Krell's death threw them off. No clear orders." Jack nodded. "Good. We use the time." He looked at Lyra. "Your people got any more tricks? Anything we can hit them with before they regroup?" Lyra stood. "Vera is working on something. Come." They followed her deep into the mine. Vera stood over a table littered with salvaged Vorath parts, shattered armor plates, glowing cores, wiring ripped from dropships. Human engineers crowded around her. One held a tablet, another a soldering iron. Vera pointed to a cracked power cell. "This is their shield generator heart. Overload it, the whole suit fails. But bigger, we can chain them. Make a pulse." A human tech, older, glasses fogged, nodded fast. "Like an EMP but targeted. We rig drones from the base. Fly low, detonate near their lines. Shields down, armor vulnerable. Bullets do the rest." Jack looked at the group. "How long?" Vera met his eyes. 1 hour. Maybe less. We work fast." Jack clapped the tech on the shoulder. "Do it. We'll buy you the hour." Outside, the defenders tightened the perimeter. Fewer now. Wounded carried in. Ammo low. But no one left their post. A farmer from town, gray beard, hunting rifle, stood beside Kale. The Illyrian held a borrowed assault rifle. The farmer grinned tired. Never thought I'd fight aliens with one of their own. Life's funny. Kale gripped the weapon tighter. Not funny. Important. High in orbit, the Vorath fleet commander, second to Krell, now in charge, stared at damage reports. Losses heavy. Ground forces stalled. Human air support had bloodied them. He snarled. Primitives should have broken by now. He turned to tactical. Launch second wave. Full commitment. Take the mountain. No prisoners. Dropships lifted again. Engines roared. Fighters screamed down in tight formation. On the ground, alarms wailed. Ethan's voice cut over comms. Incoming. Heavy wave. Brace. Jack stood. Here we go. The attack hit like a hammer. Energy fire raked the lines. Hunters charged in disciplined waves. Humans met them head-on. Bullets cracked. Grenades boomed. Illyrians fought with quiet fury, precise shots, quick moves. One hunter reached the entrance. Lyra stepped in front, pistol raised. She fired twice. The hunter fell. She did not flinch. Then the drones launched. Small, buzzing shapes rose from behind the mountain, jury-rigged from base quadcopters and Vera's tech. They flew low and fast. Vorath anti-air tried to swat them. Some exploded mid-air. But enough got through. The pulse detonated in bright silver flashes. A wave rolled across the battlefield. Vorath shields flickered, then died. Armor plates sparked and went dark. Hunters froze for one fatal second. Humans opened fire. Bullets punched through weakened armor like paper. Hunters dropped in rows. Screams rose, alien and raw. The charge broke. Hunters stumbled back, confused, exposed. Jack pushed forward with the others. Now, press them. Sarah advanced beside him, shotgun barking. Kale flanked left, rifle steady. The Illyrians surged with them, not hiding anymore, but attacking. Silver skin flashed in the dawnlight as they reclaimed ground inch by inch. In orbit, the new commander watched screens flare with red warnings. Shields failing across ground units. Losses critical. His voice shook. Primitives, they turned our own tech against us. He stared at the blue planet below. Small. Insignificant. Yet it refused to die. Recall all forces, he ordered. Regroup in high orbit. We need to reassess. Dropships lifted. Fighters broke off. The assault collapsed. Hunters retreated under covering fire, dragging what wounded they could. The ground fell quiet again, except for the crackle of dying fires and the moans of the hurt. Jack stood in the smoke, rifle lowered. Bodies lay thick around him. He looked at Lyra. She stood tall, pistol empty. Blood, red and silver, smeared her arms. "We did it," she said soft. Jack nodded. "Yeah, we did." Inside, cheers rose weak but real. Maria hugged children. Vera sank to the floor, exhausted but smiling. Ethan radioed command. "They're pulling back. Full retreat. We hold the field." General Harlan's voice came warm. "Copy. Good work. Damn good work. Resupply en route. Rest if you can." Jack looked up at the sky. Vorath ships climbed away, fewer, damaged, retreating. The threat lingered, but for now, the hunters ran. Lyra stepped beside him. "Your people, you do not give up." Jack wiped sweat from his brow. "We get stubborn when someone tries to take what's ours. And you're ours now." High above, the Vorath commander sent a final transmission to the Empire core. "Death World resists. Humans protect the prey. Losses unacceptable. Recommend withdrawal. For now." The galaxy took note. A small planet had turned back an Empire's fist. Not with superior weapons. Not with numbers. With will. With heart. With the refusal to abandon the helpless. Hope had been thin. Now it burned bright. The turning point was here. And Earth had just shown the stars what humans were truly made of. The invaders ran. The sky cleared. Earth stood tall. Dawn broke slow over the scarred mountain. Smoke still drifted in thin gray ribbons from blackened trees and twisted wreckage. The battlefield looked like a wound on the green earth. Craters pocked the ground, metal fragments glinted in the rising sun, and quiet settled heavy where gunfire had roared only hours before. The Vorath fleet had pulled back into high orbit, ships damaged and silent. No more dropships descended. No more energy bolts lit the night. For the first time in days, the air carried birdsong instead of screams. Jack stood at the mine entrance, rifle slung loose across his back. His arm still throbbed in the sling, but he ignored it. He watched the horizon. Empty. Sarah leaned against the rock beside him, shotgun resting barrel down. Dirt and blood streaked her face, but her eyes looked clear, tired but alive. Lyra stepped out from the tunnel, silver skin catching the light. She carried no weapon now, only quiet strength. Inside the shelter, the wounded rested on crowded cots. Maria moved between them with fresh water and soft words. Illyrian healers knelt beside human soldiers, silver glow fading as wounds closed. A young boy, Illyrian child, sat on the floor holding the stuffed bear a town kid had given him. He looked up at Maria. "The bad one's gone." Maria smiled through exhaustion. "Gone for now, sweetheart. We won this round." General Harlan's voice came over the radio in the command tent miles away. "All units, this is command. Vorath fleet is breaking orbit. They're jumping out system. Confirmed retreat. Stand down from combat alert. Resupply and medical teams inbound. You held the line. Earth owes you." A weak cheer rose from the defenders scattered across the slope. Some clapped shoulders. Others just sat, heads bowed, letting the weight lift. Ethan walked down from the ridge, sniper rifle over one shoulder. He stopped beside Jack. "They ran," he said simply. "Because we didn't." Jack nodded. "Yeah. And because we weren't alone." Lyra approached the group. Behind her came Kale, Vera, Sarah, and the other Illyrians who could walk. They stood together, silver and human, side by side. Lyra spoke first, voice steady. "Your world could have turned us away. Could have handed us to death. Instead you bled. You lost friends. You fought an empire for strangers." She paused, eyes shining. "We have no words big enough. But we say this, thank you. From every heart that still beats because of you." Jack rubbed the back of his neck. "We didn't do it for thanks. We did it because it was right. You crashed here by mistake. But you're not leaving as strangers. You're staying as family, if you want." A murmur spread through the Illyrians. Some nodded. Others wept quietly. Kale stepped forward. "We want. Our home is gone. But here, we found one." Sarah smiled small. "Then welcome home." Helicopters thumped in the distance, medevac and supply birds. Trucks rolled up the rough road with food, medicine, blankets. Town people came too, not soldiers, just neighbors. They brought casseroles, coffee, hugs. One old farmer walked up to Jack with a thermos. "Figured you boys could use something hot." Jack took it, voice rough. "Thanks, Bill." As the sun climbed higher, the Illyrians stepped out into daylight for the first time since the crash. They blinked against the brightness. Green trees. Blue sky. A breeze that smelled clean, not of smoke. Children ran ahead, laughing with human kids who had sneaked past the lines. Toys traded hands, stuffed animals for glowing crystals that hummed soft songs. Lyra stood with Jack on a small rise overlooking the valley. "The galaxy will hear this story," she said. "Refugees who crashed on the forbidden world. And the monsters who turned out to be guardians." Jack looked at her. "We're not monsters. Just people who don't like bullies." She placed a hand on his good arm. "The galaxy feared you for the wrong reasons. Now they will respect you for the right ones." High above, the last Vorath ships folded into jump space. Their new commander sent a final encrypted report to the Empire Corps. "Death World intervention confirmed. Humans protect the weak. Losses severe. Recommend no further action against Earth. They do not yield. They grow stronger when pressed. The Empire would listen, for now. The hunters had learned fear. Weeks passed. The mine shelter emptied as Illyrians moved to new homes, quiet farms, mountain cabins, cities where people welcomed them with open arms. Governments argued in secret rooms about treaties, visas, protection. But on the ground, it was simple. Neighbors helped neighbors. Illyrians taught humans about stars. Humans taught Illyrians about barbecues, baseball, rainy days with hot tea. One evening, Jack sat on his porch with Lyra. Stars came out slow. She pointed to a faint cluster. That was our home. Gone now. Jack followed her finger. Not all gone. Parts of it are here. He tapped his chest, then hers. In us. She smiled, small, real, warm. Yes. In us. Far out in the galaxy, word spread. Traders whispered in ports. Captains rerouted ships away from Earth space, not out of fear alone, but respect. A new story traveled the stars. Refugees found not death on the blue world, but family. And the ones who tried to take them learned the hardest lesson. Hurt the weak, and Terrans will stand in your way. Jack looked up at the sky one last time. Think they'll come back? Lyra shrugged. Maybe. But next time, we'll be ready. Together. He nodded. Together. The stars watched silent. A mistake had become a miracle. A crash had forged a bond. And one small planet had reminded the galaxy why some lines should never be crossed. Earth stood tall. Not because it was the strongest, but because it chose to protect. And that choice echoed louder than any empire's guns. The end, for now. But the valor. It burned on. Forever starbound.